just got done finished filming this video, and I'm warning you, I have nothing intelligent to say about any of the books that I read this month. So it's a lot of empty words, and I apologize for that. But, you know, still worth it. I think it's still worth it to watch the video. But I'm sorry for not being intelligent. Is that the right word? Okay, have fun. It wasn't a bad month, personally, but I just rather would have, like, spent my free time watching TV shows. I still read like a good amount of books. I read 5 books actually, all physical. 4 of them are from the library, so it's not like I'm really getting through my physical TBR, but you know, 5 books is still a good amount. Here are my stats for September. Starting off the month, read a library book, right? Most of these are library books like I told you. The Mermaid, the Witch, and the Sea by Maggie Takuta Hall, and oh my god, I don't even remember reading this in September, so like, I guess it's been a long month. That's a really good signifier of like how I feel about the books I read at the beginning of the month. It just seems like such a long time, but I got into like a whole pirate thing because I was rewatching the Pirates trilogy for the 2nd time this year, by the way. I'm just super into it. Okay, we have Florian, who's a pirate, and they and their brother are part of this pirate crew, very established, very trusted, and the pirate crew basically has these imperialists come onto their ship with them thinking that they're going to travel to their desired location, and then they end up selling them into trafficking. And on one of these trips is Evelyn, who is on her way to an arranged marriage, and so they kind of form a bond, and then it's this whole thing because of course Florian doesn't want Evelyn to go into this trafficking thing. So that's what the book is. It's sapphic. Like I said, there's pirates, and it very much feels like a pirate story in the 3rd part, I think it was, like at least the last third of the book. After all this kind of build-up of their relationship, it really felt like a pirate. But I was loving it. The action was really good. It is a bit slow at the beginning because it really is establishing the relationship, and the rest of the book is like the consequences of these things that happen. Like, I feel so bad like not confidently talking about this book, but I just don't remember it, and I would recommend it, especially if you're into pirates, sapphic relationships, books about colonization, and magical-esque worlds, very much like Studio Ghibli. The next book I read was The Assassin's Guide to Love and Treason by Virginia Boecker. Again, oh my god, this one I don't even remember reading, but this is my book, so that's one book off the TBR, I guess. This is a historical fiction, and I was super into historicals, and it's about, once again, we have 2 people, multi-perspective. Our first protagonist is this girl whose father has just been killed by these people because of the Queen, and he was a practicing Catholic, and so he was killed, and she ends up going to London to kill the Queen. She joins this Shakespeare troupe, and in the Shakespeare troupe, this dude goes undercover to see if anybody is plotting to kill the Queen because there's a threat of it happening. I love spy stories, so I was super into this. I thought the pacing was actually really good. It's quite a long book, in my opinion. In the middle, it really focuses on their relationship. I forgot to mention that she disguises herself as a boy to join the Shakespeare troupe, obviously, because girls didn't act back then. This is the Tudor era. Yeah, I think this is the Tudor era. And so it has that kind of like trope, except our hero is bisexual. So that like sexual tension between the 2 characters is legit and canon because he's into it, which is just great. I love that. But I thought it was really fun, and I like how there was a mix of the historical and the romance and the spy stuff, because usually I feel like spy stuff gets talked about in historicals. It's like some of my favorite books, historical books with female protagonists. But it was like actually quite involved in this book, and the ending might have been a little bit rushed, but I feel like it only felt like that because there was such a huge focus on the relationship that like suddenly when we got back into everyone's plots like coming down on them, excuse me, it just felt very sudden. Oh my god. I would recommend this one, and especially if you're like interested in the relationship of Catholics and Protestants during this time. I think it has really good historical information. Some of it may be fictional, but there are real people, like Shakespeare, for example. He's a main side character, and the Queen as well, and all of these other people that are just like involved specifically with our hero, and it has Deco Edges, so it's a cool book. And I read The Pain, that was She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. I honestly didn't think I was gonna read this because it happens. I'll check a book out from the library and then I won't be in the mood for it anymore, and it's very disastrous when I do this in between seasonal changes. Like, I literally had to return all of my library books I got a few weeks ago because I wanted to read fall books. I wanted to read all the dark, mysterious books and not like YA fantasy. But I started it and I committed to it, luckily, because I got the audiobook. So this is a historical fantasy. It's a reimagining of the rise of the Emperor of China, who stopped this whole Mongol business from occurring. I think that's what the history is. Shu is neglected by by their family, and so their father ends up dying, and then their brother ends up dying as well from heartbreak. And so what she ends up doing is taking on her brother's destiny, which was to achieve greatness, while her destiny originally was to achieve nothing. And so she goes on this whole journey. She becomes a monk, and then eventually she gets involved in the war, which is what most of this book is. Part one is really about her being a monk, and then like the rest of the book is about her taking on this destiny, right, and like achieving greatness. Even she was doing that when she was a monk, and so, you know, she does the whole like gender swap thing. But then this really is about like who she feels like she is. Like, she was never named, and so she's only ever been Shu Shongba, and so she became Shu as well because that's the only way she knew she was going to be able to trick the gods into giving her her brother's destiny. And I think that's really cool. There's also another character, my favorite character. Oh no, I forgot their name. Hold on, let me just find it. Ouyang. Ouyang is my favorite character, if you wanted to know, but they as well are struggling with their identity. They're on the opposite side of the war. I really liked this. I think the pacing was a little bit too slow for me, especially when we got to the war bits. It was just like a lot of war talk, and I don't like I said, it wasn't I just don't think I was in the mood for that. Like, I would super be into that if I read this at a more appropriate time, but the pacing is a little slow. And I think that's my only main criticism. Besides that, I really liked it. I mean, the writing in this, phenomenal for a debut, like actually ridiculous. And the characters are so complex. Ouyang, who is my favorite character, I don't know, there's just something about how brutal they are that I very much like. And their relationship with that guy, oh god, I forgot his name too, but I was loving that. I was loving Chu. I don't know, the parallels of Ouyang's and Chu's story was very nice to see. I love when that happens in books. Anna Karenina, for example. And I don't know, it's just like the end actually killed me. Like, slaughterhouse. It was a slaughterhouse in here. Oh. The next book I read was I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. This is a YA contemporary that I was still in the mood to read, so I kept it. This is about our main character, Ben, who comes out to their parents, and then they get kicked out. And so they go to live with their sister, and they go to this new high school. And they form this kind of bond with this dude right here, Nathan. Yeah. So it's just about them, like, experiencing this high school life, and, like, it's very much catered to non-binary people, because there's a lot of like very explicit conversations about identity and about like homophobia, and even about like this thing that happens to Ben. And so it's very much like I said, about catered, I think, to non-binary people, as it should be. But I think it was a good time, and I was really like caring for the characters by the end of it. I can't wait to read the domestic novella. Oh my god, it's the Christmas one, I'll Be Home for Christmas. I can't wait, because I love, that just sounds like my cup of tea, because I do care for the characters, and I think it was a good time. It was a sad but a fun time. I read Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. Finally, like, Jesus Christ. I feel like this is like the book to read. I don't know, like there are just books I feel like you need to read, and Cemetery Boys is one of them. And I did fortunately really like it. So this one is about, I've been saying what these books are about, right? Yeah, I have. This one's about, oh my god, I literally just read this last week. This is about Yadriel, who wants to be a brujo, but his family, who like low-key accept him but not really, are like, no, mijo, you can't be a brujo because transphobia. And so he, with his cousin Maritza, go out to do the whole quince and stuff, so that he could like finally be a proper brujo. And it works, and then suddenly his cousin Miguel goes missing after he dies, and he tries to summon Miguel. I don't know, actually I forgot what happened, but he ends up accidentally summoning Julian, who was like the school bully, and he's obviously dead. And they make a pact to be like, okay, I'll let you go see your friends if you help me find my cousin Miguel. And it's about, you know, Yadriel and Maritza trying to hide Julian from the rest of their family because they don't even know that he's a brujo yet. Then it gets into this whole like plot involving Miguel and like all these missing kids. So I really liked this. You know how you just read something and it's funny because you get it? Yeah, I like really love the culture in this, and so I thought this book was absolutely hilarious because I get it, you know, like this is my stuff. I really love this kind of story that's going on in the background. So that's also basically the main plot of like what's happening with Miguel, because that was kind of creepy as well. And the high stakes, I love her. Okay, I don't know if I love high stakes necessarily, but I do enjoy it in a YA book because it feels really genuine. Might want to catch up on this on the last week of October. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.